Yes, everybody, sorry it's a couple of weeks later than planned, but today is all about HANSI FLICK, and I normally do tactical replications that maybe don't fire in FM, but this one does. It kind of suits everything you want in an FM24 tactic. So here we go, HANSI FLICK, the best team to watch, in my opinion, in Europe in terms of aggressiveness, pace, technique, that mix of this true Barcelona style with Cruyff, Guardiola, Xavi, with that then mixture of that German intensity, the gegenpressing of your Klopps, Ralf Rangnick, with that bit in the middle in terms of relationism and allowing that kind of fluent play and mixing it all together into what has been an incredible season for Barca. I think in particular we're expecting Barcelona to come strong next season with the squad that they've got. And as you can see, we've done a little simulation. I've not played through the season myself, but we've done a little sim, and as you can see, it works wonderfully. We've only won the league by a point, but we have scored a lot of goals. 109, conceded 44, which I think is definitely a product of the tactic itself. All right, let's dive into it. This tactic, even though it's banged in FM, is a replication. I have created it so it matches exactly, not exactly, but the best I possibly can to how HANSI FLICK is playing in real life. This is a starting point for you, and if you want to move stuff away from it, then so be it. But this is a true replication. I'm not trying to do this and break the game. I imagine if you plugged this into Ipswich Town, you wouldn't have the same record with it. So just think about that. It's HANSI FLICK kind of philosophy blueprint, and then you change it, adapt it to what your team is and your current squad is. All right? So this is what I've put together. Now, in the replication itself, because of the deeper role of Pedri, doesn't like to do it in FM, I made sure that he played all the games, and Rafinha as well, because he's playing in this really weird, odd, wide forward, inside forward / shadow striker kind of role, and he wasn't suited to it. So I wanted to make sure that Rafinha played in that every single week. He's had 37 games and scored 26 from shadow striker with 10 assists. So I'm super happy with that. And then Pedri, 47 games, has played a little bit lower in terms of his numbers because of this roaming playmaker. We'll talk about maybe a couple of little tweaks that you could maybe do with this at a certain stage. So, sweeper keeper on attack. Szczesny for most of the season because we've had that injury to Stegen and then fallen out of favour. Right back is definitely that build up in a back three. They like to build in a back three with Jules Koundé. It's not so much an inverted fullback because he does get forward a little bit. But what I have got is wing back on defend. That will help him build up and then just get round and support the wide player a little bit. Two ball playing defenders. It's been Kerbasi for a lot of the season and Martinez. No player instructions on them. If you wanted to have dribble more on, you can. But we're wanting to create that real intricate kind of build up at times. So standard ball playing defenders. Now, Balde on this left-hand side, we've moved him up one because he wasn't getting high enough in possession. In build-up, I wanted him to be a little bit higher. So that's why we've got him in that role. When we lose possession, he will naturally drop in anyway. So it's a really good way as well because we're doing this Rafinha role here. He needs to be a real outlet on that left-hand side. Wing back on attack, cross from byline, get further forward, all hard-coded. We don't want complete wing back. I don't really want him to roam. I want him to really hug that touchline as much as possible. Now, De Jong's been out injured, so a lot of the season it has been Caicedo and Pedri. I think the ideal scenario would be De Jong and Pedri and maybe playing a little bit higher. Like, can they get away with two playmakers in the team? Can they get by with maybe a Regista? That would be a lovely combination to do. I know it doesn't suit Pedri, but in terms of his build-up numbers, he's really good. Like, he still scored 6 goals and 7 assists from that role, so he's not done bad, has he? In terms of that deep line playmaker. But we want Pedri to roam. We want this one to be a little bit more, You could maybe do, if you're wanting Frankie in, you could maybe go a DLP on defend because he'll sit a little bit deeper. But Barca have been super aggressive. A lot of the times it's been a 3-1-6 with one sitting, 3 defenders and everyone else flying forward. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Frankie de Jong next year could play alongside Pedri in there, depending if Olmo gets himself fit. What do we do? Will they be as brave as allowing him to be a Regista for him to then carry, dribble more? Will they want that from him? Because that really then has opened up having a difficult position when you lose possession in terms of your rest defence. You know, Barca are really open when they lose possession. So, yeah, I'm interested to see once Frankie gets himself properly fit in there with Pedri, I imagine they want a Gavi in here or an Olmo, a Firmine. So Pedri, De Jong. Pedri's been so good at helping in build-up as well and then moving into the wide areas and carrying. For Pedri as well, we've got dribble more on, so just something to be aware of. We want him to carry with the ball. Now, Yamal. We've got him as a winger on support, which I know maybe to you sounds a little bit odd, but the reasons for it are, we've gone support because we want the ball at his feet. We want him to dribble and drive. If we go on attack, he's just going to go a little bit high and look for that ball over the top and be more of an outlet. We want the ball in his feet. We have got cut inside with the ball. Now, we want him to start wide because we want him to isolate fullbacks. If we have an inverted winger on support, he will come in here a little bit too much too early. We want him to get it out wide and then carry in with it. And then when he does get the opportunity to go around the outside and maybe a little dink or a little cutback on his right foot. So that's why we've got winger on support for him. You know, you could go take more risks, shoot more often, roam from position. Those are all ones that you could quite easily change for him, but I've left it kind of standard. But we want winger, so he starts wide and then cuts in onto that left foot. The AM on support is just a number 10. You could go AP. I've just done it because we've already got roaming playmakers and all sorts in. But if you wanted to go AP, you could. It's the Olmo role. Pedro's played there at times. Firmine's played there at times. Decent out of possession as well. So with the AM, you could maybe go Mark tighter, maybe to support him defensively. You can't do close down more, which is a little bit frustrating, but there you go. So that's the Olmo role. Likes to roam. You know, you could probably go, once again, for it to be super flexible, roam from position. And then Rafinha one. Now, this is difficult because he doesn't really come in. He wants to be as close. This line here, that line from the edge of the penalty areas, that half space area. Now, we've gone shadow striker, but we've gone stay wider. So he can move into these areas here. And I'm also hoping without the ball, and when you do see it, he does track the right fullback. So we're kind of covered in that scenario there. All right, and as you can see, he's put up tremendous numbers, a really good position for us to work in. So we've got Balde down there. Rafinha, we kind of get that 5 hitting the line with the 2 players supporting, maybe a Pedri then joining to make a 6. Yeah, super aggressive, really good. When we've got Lewandowski, now I've played him as a poacher because his touches have put up his touch map for the season. There's a lot of touches inside that penalty area. Interesting that they missed him at the end of the season, didn't they? They really did miss him in terms of that. You think of the XG that they got against Inter, I imagine chances would have been finished off with Lewandowski in the side. So that is a Barcelona tactic. Where the hell do they strengthen next season? They've got superb age across the field, superb backups. Like we haven't talked about Christian's likely to go, but they've got Garcia, Araujo, Gavi, Caicedo, Gerald Martin to play out on the left, Firmin, Olmo. Well, Olmo would probably be in there, wouldn't he? They've got superb options. Who the hell do Barcelona sign next season? I would love to hear your thoughts. Once the signings have been made, we'll then come back to it. But this has been HANSI Flick's 24-25 tactic on Football Manager. Check out the Patreon. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.